January 26th, 2018.
And this is Nerd Bourbon episode 34. I am Patricia.
God. Oh shit! And I'm Todd Sturgill. That actually got me. That's good.
That wasn't me. That was Patricia. I'm glad you enjoyed that. We were talking before we started recording. We were talking about the movie Split for those unfamiliar. I'm not going to spoil the big twist at the end of Split, but that's what we were talking about. So there is some context for Todd's laughter to me calling myself Patricia. Todd, are you ready? You ready to cast a pod this week?
I'm always ready to cast a pod.
I doubt that. I doubt your bravery to journey into this realm. I think your courage has waned, sir. Before we get into it, I'm going to make an announcement about Book Club. I did this. This month's episode of Book Club went live today. It's about Significant Zero, a book that Todd and I both enjoyed and we talked about on this episode of Book Club. But in it, I announced that it is going to be the last episode of Book Club. I just stopped talking. Last episode of Book Club. No, it's going to be the last episode of Book Club in this structure. So going forward, Book Club is going to be a little more loose than it has been. We've stuck to a really rigid month-to-month structure since we started Book Club. We really enjoy doing Book Club because it gives us an excuse to read books. But what we've found is that as life gets busier and busier, like especially for me, because I have a wedding coming up and shit like that, we found ourselves it almost felt like work. Like it would be like a week out and we're like, oh shit, I guess I got to read a book real quick. You know? So, and that was the case with this book too. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like the structure of Book Club should be similar to the structure of Shots, where it's like there will be an episode of Book Club when we want to make one, essentially. That's the approach we've taken to Shots. That's the approach we're going to take to Book Club moving forward. And there's a new unannounced show that you'll hear about very soon, hopefully. That's the structure we're going to take to that too. So essentially, Nerd Bourbon going forward, the main show, the show that is posting every Friday like clockwork, you're never going to miss an episode of that. You're never, that's going to be set in stone. Everything else is going to be kind of like as we can make it happen. So like Shots has kind of become more of a movie-based show. Whenever Todd and I both see a movie, we do an episode of Shots. Book Club, whenever Todd and I read a book, we're going to announce it here, and it's going to be a couple weeks later, like after we've already recorded and talked about it, it'll be posted. That way, you guys still, if you're a listener that likes to read along with us, you'll still have some time. So essentially what we'll do is we'll record an episode of Book Club, and we'll announce it on the show, and 2 weeks later post it, so that you have some time to actually read along with us if you still want to do that. So that's how Book Club is going to be going forward. There may be months where you don't get an episode of Book Club. It depends on how much we read. There may be months where you get multiple episodes of Book Club, So Book Club is not dead. It's just changing. The structure of it is changing. And then, we do have a new show coming up soon that's going to be similar, where, we're going to post it when we have something to say. We don't want it to feel like we don't want it to feel like work. Because at that point, I think the content suffers. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoy doing the show, and I want to keep enjoying doing the show. So it's going to be a little more loosey-goosey going forward, but you will still get Book Club. Anyway, Todd, before I ask you what you've been doing this week, God of War, April 20th, 2018. I'm so fucking excited for this game, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The thing is, like, I never actually played the original ones, but I do want to play this.
Did you? So you haven't played any of them?
Nope.
You do. I think you said you kind of like know the story of them, but
I know the story. I know I've watched it being played, but I've never actually played it myself.
So, what about this one has you interested to jump into the series? Is it like the clean slate with new Norse mythology and shit like that?
Well, it's a good point to jump in because it is kind of a new story. And also, I kind of like the change in direction with, like, the combat and all that.
I really enjoy the change of direction in a few ways because, like, to me, like it was revealed 2 years ago now. I think it was revealed the E3 before last, and when it was revealed, I was just like, this is so much better. Like this to me, like God of War used to be sort of like this arcadey kind of dumb fun. Yeah, it had a story, but it wasn't like anything super worth writing home about. Kratos as a character has always kind of sucked. Like, there are interesting facets to Kratos' story, but he's never been like that compelling of a character. So I'm really looking forward to this game taking the story a lot more seriously, sort of the Last of Us-ification of God of War. And
I actually saw somebody in one of the comments call it Last of Us the Viking edition or some shit.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what it looks like. And you know, I was talking to a friend of ours that like is kind of worried about it because he was like, oh, I just kind of like I'm gonna miss like the kind of arcadey like dumb fun like doing a sex mini game kind of thing. And you know, who knows? Maybe who's to say that there isn't a sex mini game in this one? But I think my overall point is that this God of War kind of needed to grow up a little bit because, you know, God of War Ascension did not do well. And if they released another God of War on PS4 and it was just the same old shit that we've been doing since like 2002 or whenever God of War came out, like if it's just the same old shit just over and over and over where it's just the kind of dumb fun arcadey thing, like yeah, that would be okay. But God of War does need to like evolve, you know. It doesn't really fit. Like old God of War doesn't really fit with Sony's first parties anymore. Its big budget games are Last of Us, Uncharted, you know, like these big first party experiences, and God of War as it used to be does not fit into that mold anymore. So I think it's important that God of War grows up a little bit, and I'm so excited. When they announced that release date today, April 20th, man, that 420 blaze it. It's like less than 3 months away. I'm like fucking foaming at the mouth for that game. Oh my god. And I'm excited that you're going to play it too. It'll be your first exposure to the series. Todd will experience Todd of War.
That's pretty good.
That's how you need to introduce yourself from now on. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. I want to talk about God of War for a second. Todd of War, what have you been up to this week?
Well, with the announcement of Dark Souls Remastered, I've been kind of in a Souls mood, like kind of had an itch. But I knew I didn't want to play Dark Souls 3.
That's called crabs.
Yeah. I knew I didn't want to play Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. So I was like, you know what, maybe I'll jump into one of the Souls-likes. And I decided to check out... This is actually the original... This is like the first of the Souls-likes, actually.
The very first?
I think this was, yeah. I think this was actually the first Souls-like. This game's like 4 years old.
Wow.
But yeah, Lords of the Fallen. I think it came out in like 2014, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah, jumped into, what is it they call it? Clunky Souls, basically. And it is a very clunky game, but there's something charming about like how clunky it is. Because I remember when I first played it, I hated it, but that's because of the way the way I was playing it.
You hated it?
Oh, dude, I wouldn't say I hated it. It was more of like the way I was playing it. I was just not having fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like working against the game. Like the game really becomes fun when you just decide to embrace heavy armor and the big weapons.
Mm.
But when you do light armor and like the dual wielding like look fast weapons, it's you can do damage, but half the time you're getting one shot. Like
now this goes into something that I was talking with you about earlier today. Because the way you play these games is different than the way most people play these games, to be fair. Like, that sort of, like, ultra-hard, max scaling shit, you know? Like, are you playing Lords of the Fallen at max scaling?
No, the thing with this game is, like, well, not the... I mean, I started a new character, actually.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I actually completely deleted all my saves.
Okay.
And then I just restarted. And I decided to go with the warrior, like, equipment set, like the heavy armor, and sword, and then I picked the cleric magic, which was a good decision, very good decision. I basically face tanked the entire game. It was incredible. It was incredible because there's an ability called I think I was telling you about it as a shelter, and when you activate it, you just take less damage. You're healing at the same time, and it's just you just sit there and you don't even give a shit. Combined with the heavy armor, you're basically not taking any damage whatsoever. Like I'm sitting there in front of these bosses, I'm just like, eat a dick. I don't give a shit. And
that's what it
like
took to have fun with the game.
It does. It overall the game. I don't think the game deserves the amount of hate that it did get back in the day.
I don't feel. I mean, I'm not like as in tune with this
in the Souls community.
I'm not in tune with that as much as you are.
Yeah, it got a little too much hate than I think it deserved. Because I'm digging it. Like I'm just kind of chilling, doing the new game plus actually, and I'm having fun.
Because every time you've like said that to me, like oh, like it got so much hate out. I was like, from the outside looking in, like I thought it was always. When I thought of like Lords of the Fallen, I always kind of like the space it occupied in my mind was, oh, that's like one of the better Souls-like games.
I mean, technically it is, but like I think a lot of people went in expecting too much. Like they were expecting it to be Souls. You know what I mean? But go into it and play it as it's Lords of the Fallen, not Souls. Just play it like it's its own fucking game, and you'll enjoy it way more.
Yeah.
Which is what I did with this one, with this playthrough. I'm honestly like I might occasionally jump on there when I'm bored. No, not really. The moment we'll get to that, but the moment another game comes out, that shit ain't getting touched. That shit gonna get deleted real soon.
Bro, we're talking about Monster Hunter. And dude, when Monster Hunter comes out, that's all. You and I have just been like battling this crippling depression.
Oh, I swear.
Waiting for Monster Hunter World. I swear
it's
to God.
It's honestly like for the past like couple weeks, I've just been like just stringing myself along, just playing bullshit, like doing the Destiny update, like just trying to pass the time.
I just exist in this hell where I just wake up when I'm not working and I'm not working on the podcast or whatever. I just wake up and I just exist in this fucking purgatory where it's like I'm just like scrolling through news, reading about John Cena as Duke Nukem. You know, did you actually? So regarding the John Cena as Duke Nukem thing, Walt Williams, the guy who actually wrote Significant Zero, the book that we just read for book club, he made a series of tweets. Let me pull these up real quick. He made a series. Yes, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it to you. He made a series of tweets where he talks about the Duke Nukem game that he pitched after Duke Nukem Forever came out. It would have been his follow-up to Spec Ops: The Line because he was the writer of that game. Here we go. This is from Walt Williams. He is at Walt D. Williams on Twitter. I once pitched a Duke Nukem game that took place after Duke Nukem Forever. Duke was a fat, sexist, washed-up homeless guy who couldn't understand why the world had moved beyond him. When the Earth is threatened by this splinter group of extremist pig cops who call themselves the PC Master Race, a secret government organization puts Duke back in action because Duke is the only person on Earth whose worldview is stunted enough to understand the PC Master Race's tactics. But no one is able to work with Duke because he's just a toxic piece of shit. So first, they have to train him to be an actual human being by sending him on missions with characters based on other, more popular franchises. This sounds amazing, by the way. In the end, Duke makes the transition from toxic cultural fossil to a coarse idiot who is actively trying to be a better person, even if he does it in a stumbling backwards way, and then he kicks the shit out of the PC Master Race. It was called Duke Nukem Dude Interrupted. The game would have included a secondary mechanic that lets you take control of Enforcer, Duke's pet eagle. Except it's not actually an eagle, it's a diseased pigeon wearing an eagle costume that Duke made out of trash and fast food wrappers. Dude Interrupted would have been my follow-up to Spec Ops: The Line. Instead, I didn't write another game for 5 years. which, all things considered, is probably fair. So, I read that and I was like, oh yes, that would have been amazing.
That would
Yeah.
be honestly like just I'm sure like on a pure like it's stupid, but I love it.
That's a great idea for Duke Nukem, dude. That's such a good way to acknowledge, because when Duke Nukem Forever came out, like, you cannot get away with the shit that Duke Nukem used to get away with anymore.
No, you can't. Not
When
at
Duke
all.
Nukem Forever came out and it opens with him, like, holding guns while, like, two, like, girls are giving him a blowjob and stuff like that, and you're, like, having to rescue them from, like, vagina aliens, like, that shit just doesn't work anymore, dude. You gotta grow up. And so I think that's why, I mean, it was also just a really, really shitty game. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah, John Cena, Duke Nukem, I would have loved to see that Walt Williams game. Anyway, Monster Hunter World, I imagine, is going to be the topic, the main thing we're talking about next week, so gear up for that shit.
No, definitely.
Anyway, we did bring a topic this week, just because we were existing in this hellhole where we're just kind of twiddling our thumbs waiting for Monster Hunter World to inject adrenaline into our sad, lifeless bodies. We're going to talk about Disney this week. You excited about that?
I mean, I should be, because I am the one that came up with this topic.
How did we come across the idea to do a Disney topic?
I don't. You know what it is? I think I was like. I've been watching Disney movies occasionally, but then I think we recently talked about it, and it kind of put me on more of a Disney kick.
I remember what it was. We were playing Destiny, and we were grinding public events.
That turned our brains off. So yeah.
Yeah, like, we're just grinding public events in Destiny, and fucking, brains turned off. And I, as I often do, break out into "I'll Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan.
Oh.
And that's that. I think that's where the Disney topic came into be. So we'll talk about a few facets of Disney, but the sort of like foundation on which we will build our church here is a top 5 list of our 5 favorite Disney movies that we'll go through together. I feel like we'll do it kind of like the way that we normally do these. Like, we'll work from 5 to 1, and we'll just kind of do it one at a time and talk about it. But from there, I'm sure we'll talk about all the other facets of Disney that we love. It'll just be an overarching kind of Disney topic, and that'll be the meat of the show. So why don't you start us off? What's your number 5?
I wanted to have that silence there for a while.
Pregnant pause. I love a good pregnant pause, Todd.
Yeah, my number 5 is Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And
Okay.
I feel like most of the ones that I enjoy have like really cool visuals.
Okay.
And Atlantis: The Lost Empire really does have some really good visuals. I enjoy what's his name, Milo.
Is that the main character?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoy his character. There's a lot of good characters in that movie, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it,
It is kind of cool that like the main character is just like a dorky, like skinny white dude.
I love it. But there's just a lot of just fun characters in that movie. There's that fucking mole piece of shit.
That I was gonna bring him up. I like the mole guy. I don't remember his
the
name.
mole. There's a lot of memes from this movie,
Really?
actually. Well,
I'm not
they use
familiar with that.
the most popular reaction image I've seen is that motherfucker that I forget his name, but he's the dude that blows shit up.
Yeah. That sort of like monotone dude with like a mustache, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The villain is pretty stereotypical, like military sort of guy, wanting to like weaponize everything. But overall, it's just a fun movie. And I mean, this is another movie that suffers from the sequel sucking ass. I don't even. You know what it is? You know what that sequel was? I feel like it was like them trying to make a series, or it was supposed to be a series, or some shit. It was just so bad, so bad.
Okay, I had to verify something real quick. So, I was looking at this list, and so as you were talking about Atlantis, I was looking at the Wikipedia page for Atlantis, and didn't realize that Joss Whedon actually was involved in the story of Atlantis.
Oh shit!
Joss Whedon was involved writing the story, and for some reason, I don't know why. There's like this, there's like this weird like collection of like writers in my brain that seem related to me for some reason. Like when I think about Joss Whedon, I think of like a handful of other writers, and one of them is Brad Bird. Brad Bird is a writer director who's responsible for like The Incredibles and stuff like that. And for some reason, I just like when I think Joss Whedon, I like associate him with Brad Bird like at the same time in my mind. I don't know why they occupy the same space in my fucked up brain. And Brad Bird, my favorite Brad Bird movie is The Iron Giant. And I was like, looking at my list, I was like, shit, I need to make sure Iron Giant is on here. But as it turns out, it is not a Disney movie. For some reason, I always thought The Iron Giant was a Disney movie. Is not. It was produced by Warner Brothers. So
Okay.
So I'm safe.
That sounds about right. You're safe.
I'm safe. Otherwise, I would have had to cut something off of my list. Because I'm going to be real. I could have done a top 10, top 20 Disney list.
I mean, yeah, like, kind of like, honestly, like, with me doing the top 5, I kind of had to, like, really, like, think about it.
Yeah, I'm such a huge fan of Disney movies. Like, I fucking love Disney. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't love Disney? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Again, I think we talked about it, like if that Disney streaming service is a thing, I'm paying for it.
Yeah, so for those that don't know what we're talking about, Disney, it's been long rumored. It's to the point where it's almost like it's basically confirmed to be happening. Disney is talking about doing a Netflix or Hulu-like streaming service, which presumably would just have every Disney movie. And since Disney owns everything now, it's basically just going to have like every good movie ever on there. Between like, I mean, could you imagine just like paying $10 a month or whatever? I'll pay whatever the fuck they want for this, because it's going to have, you know, if it's handled properly, like I hope they make a good, solid, easily accessible, available on a lot of platforms like how Netflix and Hulu are, Disney streaming service that has every Disney movie just at your fingertips. I mean, that's amazing on its own. But then you start talking about Star Wars, and you start talking about Marvel, and like after the Fox deal goes through, I mean, God, I mean, they own everything. I mean, you know, so basically every good movie is going to be under this streaming service. So I have to imagine there's a lot of logistics that go into it, and it does need to be done well, but take my fucking money. Like, just take it.
That's some bullshit, dude.
But yeah, crisis averted. But I do want to say Iron Giant is like one of my favorite movies of all time. You do need to watch that. Even though it's not a Disney movie, still need to watch it. My number 5 is a Goofy movie. Now, it's funny. My fiance Anastasia loves a Goofy movie. And it's a great movie. It's actually like, if you go back and watch a Goofy movie, it's like way better than you even remember. Like, I loved it when I was a kid, but like as an adult, I've done nothing but love it even more. Okay. Like, it's a musical. A lot of people don't really realize that. It's a straight up musical.
Is it really?
Yes. It has an entire original soundtrack. I mean, they sing several original songs in the movie. I mean, have you ever seen a Goofy movie?
I have, but it's been a long time. No,
it's a straight up musical. I mean, the opening number of the fucking movie is a musical number. After Today. It's a fantastic, it has all the original music in the movie is great, and like the original music that was done by like real musicians is also great, and it has a great like father-son like kind of bonding story. It's funny. It's gorgeously animated, even still to this day. Like, it feels current somehow, even though it released, like, I think in the, like, late 90s. It somehow feels, like, really current. It's just a fucking great movie. And yeah, Anastasia, my fiance, is, like, a huge, huge fan of a Goofy movie. And it's only due to her kind of re-exposing it to me as an adult over the past few years. Like, her sort of like re-injecting it into my life has made me realize how much I really love that movie. And yeah, it's great. We should try to make an effort to rewatch that together.
Hey, I'm down.
It's just a fucking great movie. And you know, talking about it being a musical, there will be several Goofy movie songs present at my wedding. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Hercules.
Who put the Glad in Gladiator?
Bro, that's some real... I'm gonna be real. The music in Hercules is like some top tier shit.
It's good shit.
like the muses, all that shit's good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my love for this movie comes from just the fact that I enjoy like mythology,
Yeah.
like Greek mythology and all that. Like I just enjoy mythology of all types, but like Greek mythology is real good and it's pretty entertaining, honestly, if you get into it. Uh,
They do a good job too of like personifying those characters, like those
yeah,
gods and stuff. They
definitely.
they do a good like they pay like it doesn't feel like a half measure, like they actually take the Greek gods and like make them legitimate characters. And
Yeah, even like the characters that you only see for like maybe like a couple shots, like what is it,
right.
Narcissus or whatever, or whatever
Mm.
his name is. He's just sitting there with like a mirror, like a piece of shit.
Yeah, like everybody is paid like respect, like in the way that they
Yeah,
should be, It's a good movie. And yeah, good music too. Good performances. My boy Josh Keaton as young Hercules.
you already know.
I really love that movie a lot. There's a moment Anastasia was watching it. God, I think we own it on Blu-ray or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and she was anyway. Whatever the case may be, she was watching it recently because she had actually never seen it, and she was dying laughing. There's a moment near the beginning where Hades, which shout out to like James Woods, Hades. He's
Oh,
like
dude, yeah,
so good.
dude, Hades is like one of the best parts of that movie.
He's so funny. Like but he comes out and it's like a tearful moment. I think it's I don't remember exactly the context, but he comes out and he goes I haven't been this choked up since I got some moussaka caught in my throat. And for some reason, that has become like such an inside joke for us. Like, I would say that happened probably 6 or 7 months ago, but now every time something like chokes us up or like we like, cough a little too much while we're eating food or something like that, it's always like, I got some moussaka caught in my throat. So, yeah, Hercules is a good movie. My number 4 and your number 3 are actually the same movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'll do is, and then like our number 1 is also the same. So I'm gonna let you take your number 3, and we'll tag team it together as my number 4, and then I'll go twice after that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So our number 4 and my number 4 and your number 3 is Treasure Planet. Yeah, that's an awesome movie.
I love this movie for multiple reasons. Because one, I love the book Treasure Island.
Oh, of course, classic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a classic fucking movie. Classic
Back
book.
when I was a young lad, and I actually read like a shit ton of books. I used to read a lot when I was younger.
Oh yeah.
But Treasure Planet has a lot of things going for it. Like one, again, visuals. I love the visuals in this fucking movie.
Yeah, it's such a great idea. Like just taking Treasure Island and making it a sci-fi movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just a great idea. And I love the performances. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is who plays Jim and everything,
Yep.
and he's great. Emma Thompson's in it. Martin Short's in it. It's just fucking great cast.
It's all great.
I also love the song that John Resnick of the Goo Goo Dolls like made for the movie. I'm Still Here.
That's on my playlist.
That's a great song. I did a cover of that song on SoundCloud like years ago.
And it's actually a good cover.
Yeah, it's actually one of my better covers.
Yeah, I remember when you actually did it.
It's like really shitty. It's like I literally just had it was on like my old like iPhone 4, and I just sat my phone on the top of the guitar, so it's really shitty quality, but it's there. And it's it's me singing I'm Still Here. Great song, great cast, great movie, great visuals, like you said. I don't have anything bad to say about it.
I mean, the one thing that can probably, like, I'm not a big fan of that robot.
I like the robot.
Like, I'm at like a 50-50 thing with him. Like, sometimes, like, I was watching it recently. I'm like, forgot how annoying you were.
Well, that's the point, though, right? Because he's like,
Yeah, it is the point.
Because he's like lost his mind or whatever. He was like left. What's the word I'm looking for? Marooned, I guess. What's his name? Ben or Bob or something?
Yeah,
like that? I think it's Ben.
I think it is like something stupid like that. Just Ben.
Yeah, which I mean, that character is also in Treasure Island.
Yeah. Yeah,
just
he's just
and
like I
also
think he's just
called
a
Ben.
crazy old man. I think in Treasure Island.
Right, rather than a robot. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that character for what it is. I like that take on the character.
Mm.
But yeah, I really like all adaptations of Treasure Island, even like Muppets Treasure Island.
Yeah.
Like that shit's great. Like Treasure Island is just a great story. Like just a great swashbuckling story. So that was our kind of we both had to have that on our list. That was just great movie. My number 3 is Zootopia. I know it's a more modern movie, but that's just a fucking great movie.
Yeah, it easily could have been on my list.
That was one of those. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Like it was like when I walked out of Mad Max in like 2015, Mad Max Fury Road, and I was like, "Well, that's the best movie I'll see all year." It was the same thing with Zootopia. Like I think Zootopia came out in 2016, and after I walked out of it, I was like, "That's the best movie I'll see all year." Right there, you know.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it's got Zootopia has like it's got like Matrix levels of world building, like, and it tells it all visually, which is really cool. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to kind of wrap your head around how hard it is to introduce a world, and it's not a super complicated world, but like you instantly, without them having to say a word, like just in the opening sequences, you instantly understand the hierarchy of Zootopia and how Zootopia works, and the sort of like the praise and the preds and shit like that. Like all of that is all explained without having to explicitly explain it to you, and it all just makes sense, and it all is just cohesive, and nothing feels out of place. And it's a really smart commentary on like racism and stuff like that. It's really funny. I really liked it a lot. My only big complaint with it is the villain, I think, is a little lame.
I forget her fucking name.
I don't remember her name, but it was just so predictable. You know, like it was just a very predictable villain, and she's revealed as the villain, and it's wrapped up within like 5 minutes. But
Some real shit.
But you know, it's neither here nor there. Everything else leading up to it is like so fucking good. Like I love that movie. I really hope that there's a Zootopia world in Kingdom Hearts 3. Ugh. I really want that to be a thing.
That'd be fucking legit.
All right, I'm going to go for my number 2, and then I'm going to let you do your number 2, and then we'll get our number 1.
Thing.
My number 2, and this was a little bit of a point of contention with me because I wasn't sure if Pixar should be included or not, but I think we sort of decided that Pixar was fair game.
Yeah.
This is my favorite Pixar movie. It's WALL-E. God, WALL-E is such a fucking great movie, and I think a lot of people underrate WALL-E a little bit, even though it obviously was really like well received critically and commercially and stuff like that. Like the movie did really well. I feel like WALL-E is not in the discussion enough when people talk about the best Pixar movies. Like people always talk about Finding Nemo and, you know, any of the Toy Stories and this and that. Like, I think WALL-E is just like so... I mean, the first like 10, 15 minutes don't even have a single spoken bit of dialogue. Mm-hmm. With the exception of like the movie he's watching, Hello Dolly, I think it is. He's sitting there watching that movie like over and over and shit like that. But it's another thing where visually it sets up its world, and it has a really smart, like all great science fiction, it has something to say about the way we live our life as human beings, which is a mark of great science fiction. It has great science fiction call-outs to other pieces of science fiction. Like it has its own little HAL 9000 kind of moment, you know. It's gorgeous. It's a great little love story too that'll make you cry, and it's awesome, man. Like I fucking that movie's so good. Like it's been too long since I've seen WALL-E. Anyway, what's your number 2?
Oh, this movie right here is actually pretty it's pretty nostalgic for me. This is one of my favorite Disney movies. Like when I was a kid, Sword in the Stone. The Sword in the Stone.
Movie's great.
And I swear to God, I actually watched it. I didn't realize it was on. I realized it was on Hulu. I think I messaged you when I was watching it.
Yeah, you did. I think I was at work, and you just like sat there like Sword in the Stone's on Hulu, watching this shit right now.
Because bro, I just love it. You know, one, I love the story of like King Arthur and whatnot.
Yeah,
and But there's like so many good parts of that movie. Like I love when he's like when Merlin's doing the whole shit, like where he's turning into like the different animals to
Yes.
like learn something. I love that shit.
I like that whole era of Disney, like that 60s, that like early to mid 60s era of Disney where we got stuff like like the kind of like weird kind of animation like Aristocrats, like Sword in the Stone, like they're being a little more experimental, like the Robin Hood movie that they did, like
Yeah.
they're being a little more experimental in terms of their animation style and stuff like that, and it all looks it looks a little more rough, like you can almost
Oh
see
yeah,
the pencil
definitely.
lines.
Yeah, it definitely looks a little rough.
I love that. Like I think that looks just as gorgeous as the most modern 3D shit, like I love that shit. It looks there's so
Yeah,
much more personality to it when you can actually see the work. Yeah.
definitely.
Sword in the Stone, that's another one that I think is actually pretty underrated. Like,
I think like back when that movie first came out, it was kind of a flop for him.
oh
Like
really?
back in the day, like when that thing originally came out, I think it was kind of a flop. But like I don't know, shit, I love the hell out of it. There's like again so many good parts in that movie.
It did well financially. Critically, it didn't do great.
There you go. Did you look it up?
Yeah, The Sword in
Smart
the
man.
Stone was a financial success at the box office and became the sixth highest grossing film of 1963. However, it received mixed reviews from critics who thought it had too much humor and a thin narrative. But it still holds a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes despite that. So,
I can definitely see like a thin narrative,
yeah.
but I enjoy the shit out of that movie. Got to feel bad for that girl squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah, I like I like the character of the owl Archimedes, I think his name
Oh
is.
yeah, Archimedes is good shit.
It's good shit. Yeah. Anyway, good choice. Our shared number one, and it is and forever shall be, for me at least, The Lion King. I will never have another choice.
For a while, you were kind of sitting there thinking Beauty and the Beast.
Here's the deal. I think Beauty and the Beast is the best Disney movie.
Okay.
Like, I think Beauty and the Beast is just the perfect mix of like timeless animation and like amazing fucking the music of Beauty and the Beast is like unparalleled, and like like it's a great classic love story and stuff like that, and it's great. Like I love Beauty and the Beast, but like, and I think that is I think it's the quintessential like the thing that's like so I think amazing about Beauty and the Beast is like, and I think a lot of people don't quite realize that Belle, if you listen to the music at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast, when Belle's like walking through the town, and it's playing Belle, the song Belle, and in the song, like everybody's just talking about like, look at this fucking weirdo who's reading her book. Ugh, a book. Can you believe how fucking weird she is? Because she reads. A woman that reads. What the fuck. So like, back in I think 91 or something, it came out. Beauty and the Beast is like late 80s, early 90s. Beauty and the Beast is touching on gender issues. It's touching on like social outcast stuff with like people who just want to fucking be smart, and like, and it's a parallel of like the way the Beast treated people in humanity, and it's like fucking brilliant. Like that's such a timeless. It is a tale as old as time,
I
But
swear to God, I was gonna jokingly say that.
it's fucking true. Like it's timeless. But no, I will not allow Beauty and the Beast to dethrone. If we're talking about the best Disney movies, Beauty and the Beast. If we're talking about my favorite, Lion King. I can't.
Yes.
I cannot take anything away from Lion King. I fucking love that movie. It's so. I mean, really, and this is the case with a lot of Disney movies. The Lion King is really just Hamlet, you know,
Yeah.
which is fine, and that was sort of the conceit, is like let's make Hamlet with African animals. But I fucking, it's so like epic in scale,
Mm-hmm.
like, and it has like just amazing music. Like I feel like I have such jumbled thoughts about the Lion King 'cause I love it so much. Like I love the characters. It's funny. it's like still funny to this day. It's one of those movies where like the adults can get the humor, you know. How do you feel about this Jon Favreau Lion King?
All right. I'm looking forward to it, honestly,
I am too.
because the live action stuff has been pretty fucking good, honestly. Like, what is it? I hate the shit out of Jungle Book, like the original animated. But I don't mind the
Okay. I thought you were talking about the Jon Favreau Jungle Book.
no, the original animated one. I hate with a passion. Like, I remember a mutual friend of ours was like, "Oh, the Jungle Book is my shit." I'm like, "No, nobody. Jungle Book."
Yeah,
is shit.
I don't like. Yeah. I even just like even when you're looking at the cast here, like I love that they're getting James Earl Jones back for Mufasa.
Oh, God bless. I didn't know they were doing that. Fantastic.
Yeah, he's coming back for Mufasa, but like Donald Glover is Simba. That's great. Fucking Beyonce is gonna be Nala, which is awesome because Beyonce is the queen bee.
Shit. Yeah, you already know.
But do you know who they have playing Scar?
Who?
I've never been able to pronounce this motherfucker's name. Chiwetel Ejiofor. He was the guy who played Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange, and he also played the bad guy in Serenity and stuff like that.
I'm kind of down for that.
He's gonna play Scar. He's great at being the bad guy. Like, he's a little typecast, I guess, but he's great, man. But yeah, he's gonna be Scar in the new one, and fucking Seth Rogen is gonna be Pumbaa.
God bless. Who's Timon?
Timon is Billy Eichner. I don't know who this is.
That?
Yeah, I don't know who this is. Apparently he's played some small roles. He was in like Penguins of Madagascar and the Angry Birds movie and Neighbors 2 and stuff.
Oh, I know who he is. I've seen him before.
Oh, okay. This would be where you would know him from. He plays Craig Middlebrooks in Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that's actually why I know him.
Oh, he didn't know. Okay, so this is after I already stopped watching. He didn't pop up until season 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I don't know who this fucking character is. So yeah, he's gonna be Timon. Fucking John Oliver is Zazu. That's great. That's like great casting. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a really well done cast. I mean, Jon Favreau has already sort of proven that he can handle it. You know.
Yeah.
He's already sort of proven with the Jungle Book, which I also really enjoyed his adaptation of.
Yep.
I don't know. I just fucking love The Lion King. I actually had a Lion King themed bedroom when I was young. My bedroom.
Did you know that my sister and I, like, my sister wanted to get a tattoo, and she kind of wanted me to get a tattoo with her.
Okay.
Because Lion King came out the year we were born.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Came out in '94. She wanted to get a tattoo of the basically like the little like tree drawing of like Simba that Rafiki does.
Ah. Okay.
She wanted to get that with like a quote underneath, and she was talking about getting it. Like, I wouldn't have got the quote, but I wouldn't have mind. I'd have no problem. I have that little drawing on my arm or some shit.
Yeah, that would be a cool tattoo. Fun fact: Beauty and the Beast came out the year I was born.
There you go.
So that's kind of funny. Yeah, that'd be a cool. I didn't know that.
She was talking. That was a couple years back. I don't know if she still wanted to do that, but
where'd you get it at? Like on your arm or something?
Yeah, I would just get it on like my forearm or something.
That'd be a cool hand tattoo. To have that on there for a hand tattoo.
Maybe.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now, that's our top 5. Do we want to shout out some of our favorite songs? What would you call your favorite Disney song?
My favorite Disney song? You already know what the fuck it is.
Go ahead. Tell the class.
I'm gonna make a man out of you, man.
I love that fucking song so much.
Dude, that's just too good, dude.
Can anything pump you up more than that fucking song, dude? No. There's nothing quite like it. I'll never forget. We were playing Halo Reach. I even remember the map we were on. I don't remember what that map's called, but I remember the map. Like, I remember what the map looks like in Halo Reach. Mm-hmm. It's that one where it's like 2 different sides, and God, it's actually kind of a small map, but there's like that kind of like in between the two different sides. There's like two man cannons on either side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what map you're talking about, but it's again,
We were on that
haven't
map.
played Reach in God knows how long.
Yeah, we were on that map. I really love Halo Reach. Great maps. We were on that map. I think it might have been called Reflection. Anyway, we were playing like a weird. I think we were playing like maybe SWAT, because I think we played a lot of SWAT in Halo Reach.
Yeah, SWAT's kind of the go-to game mode in general for us when we play
SWAT's
Halo.
just a great fucking Halo game mode, dude. Like, I love SWAT. Like, no radar, headshots or instant kills, like realistic health. I love it. We're playing SWAT. Our team was down by a lot. Like we were down by like fucking like 20 points or something. It was like absurd. Like, we were just getting fucking reamed. Like, it was looking fucking grim. And then all of a sudden, I just started to sing "I'll Make a Man Out of You," and we were playing with Dan and I think Jacob, and we all just started singing it together, and we ended up coming back and winning. We're all getting like into it too. Like, we're just sitting there like going in, dude. There's, you must be swift as a coursing river. Sitting there like getting headshots. I'll never forget that. That's one of my favorite gaming memories.
That's some good shit, dude.
Disney has provided that for me. I think my favorite Disney song is probably fucking I Just Can't Wait to Be King from The Lion King.
Yeah, you sang it for me recently.
You can't beat that when that music comes on. You can't help but like shake your hips a little bit. And that in the Lion King Super Nintendo game, that level, the fact that they played like a chiptune version of that level is the only reason that stage was like anywhere. It drove me fucking crazy. That was like the hardest stage in the game, especially as a kid, and it's already a really hard game. But thank God they played like a chiptune version of "I Just Can't Wait to Be King," because it makes that level somewhat bearable. Do we want to talk about? I'm trying to think. I feel like Disney is such a wide-ranging topic. We can just go on and on and on.
Oh yeah, we definitely can.
What other sort of Disney things do you want to talk about? What about villains? Who's your favorite Disney villain?
Ooh, that's a good one, actually.
Disney's filled with great villains.
Honestly, like, I gotta kind of go with Scar.
Scar's great. You know what though? I've always loved Ursula from Little Mermaid.
Ursula's good too, yeah.
We already talked about Hades. I think Jafar is a really good Disney villain.
I honestly, they do their villains pretty good for the most part.
I also like the villains that are like legitimately evil, like just fucking evil people, like the dude like Clayton in Tarzan who wants to like kill some fucking gorillas. You know?
I don't think he wants to kill him. He wants to capture him for the most part, doesn't he?
He's got a shotgun.
He straight up does have a shotgun. That's some real shit. I actually just watched that right now. He's so fucking. It's actually insane watching how crazy that fucker gets.
By the end of it, isn't his like hair all like wiry and shit?
Bro, it's all ruffled. He's climbing, trying to kill Tarzan, dude. I was just watching this shit. He's sitting there in the vines, just trying to get him.
In the vines, isn't it like raining and shit like that? Like it's like a fucking like Deliverance type moment. Like, yeah, I remember that shit.
And dude, Tarzan's just sitting there like just kind of throwing more vines at him. He's like, get the fuck away from me. And it just gets to the point where he's so tangled up, and he's so adamant about like killing Tarzan. He chops off the vines. He's just chopping the vines, not realizing that there's one around his neck.
What about fucking the dude from Aristocrats? That dude is fucked up, right? Isn't he trying to like take the cats and like or wait. Yeah, I think he's trying to ship them off for like money or something like that.
Something like that, dude. I don't know. Like, it's been a minute since I've seen Aristocats. I love that movie, though.
Oh, here's another. Speaking of that, Cruella de Vil, who wants to kill and skin baby puppies.
Holy shit!
How about that? Oh, I'm looking at this list here of like Disney villains, and I'm just remembering some of these. Holy shit! The villain of the Great Mouse Detective. You remember that
Oh, you
movie?
talking about that big ass
That big
rat?
motherfucker Ratigan or whatever is his name.
Yes.
He's like the rat, like Moriarty from Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he's like this big son of a bitch.
Beat your fucking ass. This
If I saw a rat that big, I'd kick that motherfucker.
I think that I might have to give my favorite though. My favorite Disney villain might be Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh.
That's a menacing
Yeah.
son of a bitch, dude.
Yeah, dude.
And like he's sitting there fucking like that Hellfire moment where he's sitting there with like Esmeralda's scarf and he's like rubbing it on his dick and shit. He's like, this woman makes me so horny, but I can't have her, and I'll kill her. That's the crux of his whole villainous turn. He's already a piece of shit who was like ready to kill a baby just because it was ugly, basically.
Sending it back to hell where it belongs.
Yeah, he basically he looks at this baby. He's like, oh, it's hideous. He's like, and I remember there's like he's literally
he's ready
like
to do seriously. He's just ready to throw that motherfucker down. He's ready
down
to
a
throw
well,
Quasimodo
right?
down the fucking right down a well, dude.
well. He's sitting and the baby is like, I think he's got it like hanging, and it's like sitting there
just
like
hanging,
about
like,
to.
just dangling over with the cloth, dude.
Like the bundle that it's wrapped in is about to like unfurl and the baby's gonna fall down the well. Then he decides to take it in or whatever.
Oh no, the priest, the priest legit comes out. And he's like, it's actually still in song, and it's basically like, it's like you must care for it as your own. It's like you got to care for it as your own. He's like, well, how about you put it up in the bell tower,
Right.
where nobody can see it.
And then the whole crux though of his like, he's literally like, I'm gonna burn down Paris to find this gypsy that I want to fuck. That's basically it. That's basically it. He just has like this fucking creepy crush on this young gypsy, and he's conflicted because he's like, oh, I hate gypsies, but like I really want to have sex with this gypsy. That's the whole point. That's the Hunchback of Notre Dame in a nutshell. Anyway, great Disney villains.
We could legit have a topic of just talking about Disney villains.
Just
That's
villains. They're so great.
Dude,
Even
yeah.
modern ones. Like, I really shout out to Tamatoa from Moana.
Oh yeah.
What a fun villain that is. He's not really like a villain. He's more of like a side quest, I guess.
Yeah, he's like a side quest, like kind of mini boss sort of thing. And
But he's a really fun villain though.
Yeah, he's a good time.
I was talking to you. I really think King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph / Turbo. I really think he's like a really underrated villain. Like he's a fucking great villain if you think about it. But if you think about his backstory and the way that he has represented himself and the way that he has portrayed this other character and sort of like sort of the way that he's like kind of condemned this game to the races and everything like that. Like he's a fucking great villain, and like when it's revealed that he's the villain, everything, he has this kind of like Ed Wynn kind of voice or whatever, and he's like menacing as fuck, right? And then like he's like actually a really good villain if you stop and think about it, and it makes sense in the context of Wreck-It Ralph's world, which is really important to me. Like it's really important to me when like a villain actually makes sense. They're not just there, you know.
Yeah, because I think that's like something they say is like, don't go turbo or some shit, you know.
And like you don't know, like you're not going turbo, are you? And like it's become like this kind of taboo of like you don't want to go turbo. Like there was this dude who fucking like fucked himself up type shit, you know. So anyway. I digress, Todd. I could talk about Disney for a long, long time.
Same, honestly. Like, I love Disney.
Is there anything? Is there anything you want to shout out before we wrap this up in song?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh shit!
Yes,
he's great in
Maui
Moana, and
like it's when I went into watching Moana, and I was like, I did not expect that The Rock would have like the best song of that movie.
Amen, dude.
Like
Amen.
that shit blew my mind. I'm like, why is this shit so good?
Everybody's all hung up on like how far I'll go and shit. No, it's You're Welcome. You're Welcome is by far the
Your
best
Welcome
song.
is incredible. Like shit.
Moana's another great Disney movie, and that just came out like a year ago. But anyway, Todd, let's break out into a musical number.
Oh God.
Anyway, you guys have been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you had a good time listening to us be depressed about Monster Hunter and then cheer ourselves up talking about Disney, why don't you go ahead and throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on. If there's a service we are currently on that you want us on, let me know so we can fix that. If you have any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, leave them for me. You'll get your question read on the show, and I will answer it. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon. We are at nerdbourbon on Twitter. And as I always say, the only way that we have to grow is if you tell your friends about us. So thank you so much for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Question to the world, not an answer to be heard, or a moment that's held in your arms. And what do you think you'd ever say? I won't listen anyway. You don't know me, and I'll never be what you want me to be. Do you think you'd understand? I'm a boy, no, I'm a man. You can't take me and throw me away. And how can you learn what's never shown? Yeah, you stand here on your own. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. And to be real, wanna touch things I don't feel, wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. And you see the things they never see. All you wanted I can be. Now you know me, and I'm not afraid. And I wanna tell you who I am. Can you help me be a man? They can't break me as long as you know who I am. And I want a moment to be real, wanna touch things I don't feel, wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. They can't tell me who to be, 'cause I'm not what they see. Yeah, the world is still sleeping while I keep on dreaming for me. And words are just whispers and lies that I'll never believe. And I want a moment to be real, wanna touch things I don't feel, wanna hold on and feel I belong. And how can the world want me to change? They're the ones that stay the same. They don't know me, 'cause I'm not here. I'm the one, 'cause